And the headlines today: the Anthony Walker trial in which his family were faced with the weapon that killed him. Tube security proposals that will help protect us from suicide terrorists. And we look into the new system that will help us understand what's really in our food. Hello, my name's Bernadette Kingham and welcome to Buzz News. Our first story looks at the tragic murder of Anthony Walker. He was killed for one reason and one reason only, because he was black. This was the horrific conclusion that Anthony Walker's family had to listen to during the recent trial of Michael Burton, the teenager accused of murdering Anthony. On top of that, the family came face to face with the acts that took Anthony's life.
It was a traumatic morning for Anthony Walker's family in court. They had to hear the prosecution's allegation that Anthony was murdered just because he was black, and were shown the weapon that killed him. A straight-A student and committed Christian, Anthony was killed in July. Today the prosecution claimed he was targeted by this man, Michael Barton, in a racist attack. It's the prosecution's case that Michael Barton and others decided to pursue Anthony Walker and Marcus Binns for no other reason than the colour of their skin. The jury heard how Anthony, his girlfriend Louise Thompson and cousin Marcus Binns were walking to a bus stop on St John's Road when they were racially abused. The three tried to escape by walking into McGoldrick Park, but were allegedly followed by Paul Taylor, Michael Barton and other youths. Once inside, Anthony and his friends were confronted by the gang. Marcus and Louise were able to escape, but on St Agnes Road, Anthony Walker was caught, struck in the head with an axe, and died. Yesterday, Paul Taylor changed his plea on the first day of the trial and admitted murdering Anthony. Barton denies murder. Today, the jury was told it's the prosecution's case that the fatal blow was struck by Paul Taylor, but that the weapon was provided by Michael Barton. That weapon, a 2-foot-long ice axe, was held up in court today, provoking faint gasps from Anthony Walker's family.
The government has announced the need for increased security on our public transport, including high-tech systems that can screen each passenger. Emma Axel has the report.
A recent conference at the QE2 Centre in London examined transport security in the wake of the recent bomb blast on July the 7th, which killed 52 people and injured 700. Several new high-tech systems which could potentially identify suicide terrorists are being tested in the new year. X-ray screening and body scanners as the equipment being tested to boost the security on the UK rail network. The high-tech system includes a millimetre wave scanner which can screen for concealed weapons and traces of explosives. Sophisticated CCTV technology, including a so-called intelligence vision system which can automatically spot suspicious behaviour, are also underway. A small number of randomly chosen passengers will be asked to take part in the test of the scanning equipment at Paddington Station over a 4-week period. Meanwhile, human rights campaigners have warned that young men from ethnic minorities must not be targeted by the passenger screening. London Underground Chief Operating Officer Mike Brown has welcomed the plans, but has said that the technology is not yet at a stage of being deployed sensibly, while still being able to move vast numbers of people around London. This is Emma Axel for Buzz News.
It was the morning newspapers that brought some controversial findings to the Iraqi people on Wednesday. US forces were looking for a 15-year-old boy at a ministry building in Jafari, Baghdad, but instead they found more than 170 detainees showing signs of torture and abuse. The Iraqi Prime Minister has ordered an investigation into the alleged abuse of the detainees. On Saturday, the annual Lord Mayor's Show took place in the centre of London, a tradition that's been held for years. Thousands of people paraded and watched as the celebrations went on throughout the day. Phil Poole has the story.
Here we are at the Lord Mayor's Show in London, honouring the 678th Lord Mayor. The sun is shining and the crowds are out in force for this much celebrated event. There are 135 entries for the show this year, in a parade which stretches 3 miles long.
I've been coming for the last 12 to 14 years. Well, the pomp and pageantry, It's just so emotional. I'm just so proud of London, and I just think it's absolutely wonderful. The hard work that's gone in. The crowd's been marvellous. It's just a very friendly, wonderful atmosphere, and I'm very proud of it all.
So you'll be here again next year then?
I will be here again, God willing, yes.
We've come from Washington, D.C. yesterday. It's marvelous. It's wonderful to see all the guilds and the various aspects of London life. We thought it was marvelous, particularly since we didn't expect to do it. We were here on our way to see St. Paul's, and suddenly there was the parade. The miniature history of London, really, both today and yesterday. It was wonderful to see it coming together and to understand the continuity of these traditions in your country, which are so much older than our country naturally.
Well, that's it, for another year at least. And let's hope the next year's event can be as much of a success. This is Phil Poole in London for Buzz News.
It may seem obvious what food we should be eating to stay healthy, but clever marketing sometimes makes it difficult to spot the healthy options. A new food labelling system has been proposed to help us. Will Middleton has the report.
What do you want on your food labels? The Food Standards Agency wants to introduce a new traffic light signposting system. Consumers will get an at-a-glance guide to the amount of fat, sugar and salt in a product.
It's a balance between helping consumers who are in the store first off looking at a product that's high and low, making that comparison, as compared to looking at two products and identifying which is the lower in fat or salt or sugar.
Critics say it's too simplistic, but most shoppers agree it would be better than current labelling.
I think it should be clearer, much clearer, large, say unsalted, unsweetened, and much larger on the cans themselves, not on the shelves.
Consistency would be key, but it may seem difficult to get all supermarkets and manufacturers to comply. Will Middleton, Buzz News.
We'd like to know what you think about the new traffic light signposting system. Do you think it would be beneficial? And do you think it could work consistently throughout all the supermarkets? Phone us in the studio on 08700 678 986 or email us on buzznews@buzz.co.uk or send a text to 89996. We'll hear from some of you later on in the main show. And in the other news, a school trip tragedy has made people think twice about just how safe they really are. Rachel Courtney reports.
Safety guidelines for school trips are under scrutiny after the death of a 14-year-old boy during a school caving expedition. It is thought that Joseph Lister died after becoming trapped by rising water at North Yorkshire Park Centre. The police are investigating the circumstances. Rachel Courtney reporting for Buzz News.
As you may well be aware, it's Children in Need Day today. So how are you supporting this huge event? Our correspondent Rob Pearson is in London right now to fill us all in on the fundraising and what's going on in the city. Hello, Rob.
Hi, well, there's been a lot of exciting things happening in London today. The Hard Rock Cafe is hosting a pop rock event and Café de Paris is having a funk extravaganza. Obviously, Elstree Studios is the main place to be for all the big events later on this evening.
But it's not just the public that are getting involved, is it? Tell us about the big names who are coming up with the fundraising and all that money.
Well, there's been some really big companies getting involved this year, including HSBC and McDonald's. And Tottenham Hotspur's community scheme have linked up with 12 local schools to help raise some serious cash. Now, as you know, Liberty X will be performing the Children in Need 2005 single. And of course, my favourite, Madonna, will be hosting the show.
And can you tell us anything more about the big show tonight?
Well, like I said, I can't give away too much, but I will say it's not too late for you to get involved in the fundraising. All you need to do is send off to www.bbc.co.uk/pudsey/fundraising. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Rob. And now, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is finally released in the cinemas today, and there are thousands of fans who can't wait to see all the characters on screen again. Will Hughes is at Leicester Square catching up with all those eager fans.
Just beginning together. We spoke to the public today to discover just why Harry Potter is still proving to be so successful.
Yeah, I'm a very big fan. I'm just really excited to be able to see the very first showing. I really like the first three. I love the books, and then the movies I think are really good.
when it first came out, it was quite nice. It's sort of the first book to sort of open up that adult to child sort of market. I think it did quite well, but I do prefer the books. I think the whole idea of the genre is that you create the imagery in your head. So the fact that it's on the TV, it will never look as it does when you imagine it. So yeah.
So there we have it. It seems the question now is not if, but when will the rest of the country fall under the spell of Hogwarts' most famous wizard? This is Will Hughes in Leicester Square for Buzz News.
Thanks for joining us at Buzz News this lunchtime, and we'll see you again tonight for the evening show. Bye-bye.